Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. Today we're going to do a video on spring cleanup. Now I did most of my cleanup in the fall, so I will go around and show you what I actually need to clean up in the spring, and it is going to be very quick. So first place we're going to start is in my backyard. Now we're going to wait on the hydrangeas because they have not started pushing their buds yet. There's some swollen looking buds, but if you look really carefully at them, they are not alive. These buds are not. But let me show you where I cut to see if they are living or not. I took one, hopefully it'll focus. I cut one just to make sure it is still living. And this branch is still living. So it's just been too cold for these to start pushing buds yet. So what I'm going to do is wait until I see the green and then cut these back to the first set of living buds. I will be going through and removing some of this lamium and cutting it back. Got our Jack Frost Brunera starting to push new leaves. And they're not going to come out for a while, but I have some hostas in here. And as soon as this wonderful virus is not such a problem, I'm going to go back to the garden center. Maybe I'll even go before that, we'll see. And I want to try planting a golden currant in this spot. So this area has just a little bit of cleanup to be done. The rest of the backyard was cleaned up last fall. The grapes I will cut back next week, and I will do a video just totally dedicated to grape pruning. I'm going to cut back and possibly dig out some of the feather reed grass, and I may cut back this sage. Generally what happens is you get new leaves pushing out, and they'll push off all the old dead leaves. See, the new leaves are starting to push out already, so I may not even have to prune this back at all. So I'll wait until next week and see what that looks like. What I have left is the grasses. I will show you how to do that. Last fall I took down my hardy hibiscus by a little bit, and I'm going to take that to the ground. We're not going to see life on the hardy hibiscus till the end of May, possibly even June. This is one of the last plants in my garden to come out. We may take a branch or two off my little double Ninebarks, but they are doing just fine right now. Their leaves will come out and they'll be gorgeous. I love this because this is why you buy plants that fit in the spot that you want them in. I have not ever pruned these, and they still are in nice shape, and in the summer they're gorgeous. So we're going to start with the grasses, and today I'm going to show you a quick, easy method I have learned to cut back the grasses without making a huge mess. So the first thing you're going to need is some twine, anything that's biodegradable that you can tie up your grasses with. So let's get those tied up.
We are two wanderers at dawn of the world full of.
Now I start by pulling this grass all the way up off of the ground so I can start at the base. Once you've got the base tied up, then just wind your way up the grass and cut it down. So there we have the grass all tied up. We could cut it down with my gas-powered hedge trimmers or anything else. I'm going to use my hand pruners because it's not that big.
said always, and we run and dance. I'm water, you're a wave, I'm a player, you're my prize, I'm a ghost, you're a house, you're my body, I'm your glide, and no one is right. Oh, this world is so blind, there are no doubts in your eyes. You said always, and we run and dance. We run and dance, oh, we run and dance, oh.
Now there's another thing that needs to be cut back this time of year that I didn't talk about earlier, and that's my butterfly bushes. They're very easy to cut back. You just cut them to the base. So let's start cutting back and see what it looks like afterwards. Now the next thing I'm going to work on is my Ninebark. Like this one, I like the shape. We have the exfoliating bark that I'd like to leave, but I want to take some of the height off, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now pruning Ninebarks can be pretty tricky. I wanted to show you a couple of things. If you look at this branch up here, you could see where I cut it off. Let me see if I could pull it a little bit closer. Now I'm hoping that you could see this because I can't see it because of the sun. But if you could see where I cut it off last year, right at the tip there, you could see all the growth that came out of the end of it. That's called witch's brooming. Now Ninebark is very susceptible to that, so we try not to cut branches off in the middle. I'm going to show you where I like to cut them. I already showed you the stem where we got the witch's broom effect. To avoid that, what we're going to do is we're going to take, for example, let's say this branch right here. I don't like how that goes into the tree, but if I cut it right down in here, we're going to get that witch's broom effect. To avoid the witch's broom effect, I'm going to choose a branch that's about 1/3 the size of this one, which is this one, and cut it at an angle just above that branch. That will force the growth out into this branch rather than along the stem. Now if I have a branch like this one, you know, there's no branches to cut it down to, but I can choose an outward facing bud. So for example, let's see if I can find a bud that I like. If you can see this bud right here, that's an outward facing bud. I can cut it at an angle there and force growth out of that bud rather than just have a witch's broom effect. The other way to prune Ninebark is to go in and kind of clean out anything that's dead and weak and crossing. For example, all the branches down at the bottom, I'm going to take those off. Like these are weak. We're going to cut those off. Anything that's crowding, we're going to take that off. And anything that's up against the fence, I'm going to try to take those off. The other way to prune Ninebark is just to cut the entire thing to the ground. But as I said earlier, if you take off the older branches, you're not going to see the exfoliating bark. Now there may come a time where I need to renew this shrub, you know, get new branches out and have it growing better, and I may have to cut the whole thing to the ground, and it will survive that really well. If you just want a lot of new lush growth, take out 2 or 3 of the oldest, largest branches and cut the rest of them back to either outward facing buds like that one or to another branch. And that is the way to prune a Ninebark. Let's get this pruned up and I'll show you what it looks like at the end.
We are two wanderers at dawn of the world full of war.
So now, as you can see, we have a more open shape to this, and the height is reduced a little bit. Maybe next year, a couple years after that or something like that, I'm going to need to come in and cut it down quite a bit so that I can force new growth. I like the look, so that's what's important. Let me show you the finished product. I did also cut back my snapdragons. They have new growth coming up on them. I think they're so pretty. We got the grasses cut back. Look how pretty all those spring flowers look. I love it. I love a clean yard. Yep, more grasses cut back. As we go through here, we have the cut back Ninebark and butterfly bush. As I said, the hydrangeas will be cut last. And we've got our lamium is cut back and ready to be gorgeous again this year. So thank you for coming along with me on this adventure, and right now I'm going to move on to my next video. That was my reward video. I am really excited about this next one. I'm building a structure in my garden, and I'd love to take you along with that next video. So until then, hit the like, subscribe, and have a wonderful garden adventure.